All right, well, we've got a few people who are going to come up and speak today. I've kind of checked in with everyone who's going to be coming up, so we've got a list right here. So we've got some scheduled people who told us beforehand they'd like to speak, but at the end there will be a chance for anyone else to come up if you were not, if you had not told us before that you wanted to speak. But I just want to thank everyone for being here today. From behalf of Mom, Jeff, and I, we're all so happy you're all here. Dad would have been too humble to say so, but it means so much to have all of you here today, and he would have loved to have seen all of you today. We filled this space with friends and family who love my dad dearly. He never would have believed it if he knew. I thought I would kind of start things off by letting you all in on a secret. Dad really did not like public speaking. Mr. Renouf, afraid of public speaking. Hard to believe, but it is true. It's not many people's favorite thing to do, but you would find the courage to do it. Sometimes with a little help or a good luck charm. I remember one time, years and years ago, Dad was getting ready for a presentation at work, and I must have been able to tell if he was nervous. I had one of those best friend necklaces where one says best and the other says friend. So I gave him the best charm, one, because he's the best, obviously, and two, I knew he needed the good luck. So I found out just recently that he kept his charm on him for every time he had to do any public speaking. So I brought this charm with me today because I gave him good luck when he needed it, and he'll do the same for me, as he always did. So I'm going to invite Nancy Dugan to come up. She's got a few things prepared that she would like to share with us, and we'll go from there.
Good afternoon, everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Nancy Dugan. My husband Ross and I were fortunate to have enjoyed many years of friendship with Jay and Susan. I first met Jay in the early 80s. He was a buddy of my brother-in-law, Scott. Scott always found a nickname for everyone, and the one he so fondly referred to Jay as was Hot Dog. At that time, Jay was a bit of a wild guy with a thick head of black curly hair. Over time, Jay was ready to settle down, and one day he said to me, and I remember the day so well, "Nancy, you must have some single girls at the bank that you can introduce me to." I immediately thought of Suze, as she was a very fun-spirited young lady. I asked Suze for her permission to give Jay her number. She reluctantly said, "Okay." Jay called, and she didn't answer. Gave it a day or so, called again. This time she did. Jay and Susan had their first date on June the 25th, 92. Married May 21st, 94. A ceremony with immediate family and close friends was held at Jay's parents' house in Brentwood. It was a beautiful event. A seed was planted in June of 95, and baby Sarah arrived April 22nd, 96. Shortly thereafter, another seed was planted, November of 96, and young Jeff arrived August 19, 97. The Renouf family unit was complete and ready to sail. Over the years, our two families created a very special bond. Many memorable summer holidays at Shuswap, followed by numerous ski trips to Panorama. These holidays carried on for a span of 30 years and got better every year. So many concerts enjoyed by the four of us. The last one, Colin James. Summer Solstice 2019 at Parkland Community Center. What a spectacular evening. All of these memories I hold very close to my heart and will cherish forever. Jay Renouf was a rock-solid guy, kind, caring, compassionate. He loved his family dearly and was so proud of them. They were always number one on his hit parade. That, along with his many other outstanding qualities, I admired him for. I would like to close by reading you a poem my brother Steve sent me shortly after he learned of the heartbreaking news. I will leave you with this. The poem is titled The Dash. I He noted that first came the date of birth and spoke of the following date with tears. But he said what mattered most of all was the dash between those years. For that dash represents all the time they've spent alive on earth, and now only those who love them know what that little line is worth. For it matters not how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. What matters is how we live and love, and how we spend our dash. So think about this long and hard. Are there things you'd like to change? For you never know how much time is left that can still be rearranged. To be less quick to anger and show appreciation more, and love the people in our lives like we've never loved before. If we treat each other with respect and more often wear a smile, remembering that this special dash might only last a little while. So when your eulogy is being read with your life's actions to rehash, would you be proud of the things they say about how you lived your dash? Renouf had an outstanding dash. Thank you. A few of Susan's girlfriends from back home sent words of condolence, which I would like to read. Susan, Sarah, Jeff, family, and friends, please accept our deepest sympathies for the loss of Jay. We are saddened to hear of his passing. Words may not express the sorrow. Our thoughts are with you all at this time. Love your friends back home, Jane Ann, Debbie, Harriet, and Susan.
Thanks everybody for coming today. Enjoy this day. My name's Ross, a longtime buddy of Jay's. Go way back. For those who know me, I got a tough time with this, and it's a little tough for me, but I feel I want to share my thoughts with Jay. Honored to do so. Do my best to close here. If someone asked you to describe Jay, what would you say? I would say integrity, honesty, strong moral fiber, principled, trustworthy, reliable, respectful, very strong work ethic, dedicated, caring, and consistent. And because of who he is, he had the utmost respect for everybody who knew him. You don't build many people back then. Jay came from very good family roots. And Jeff, and his mom Gloria insisted on hard work and respect. His sister Laura and his brother Rob are from the same mold, and are stellar human beings as well. First met Jay about 45 years ago. At that time, my little brother Scotty was a friend of Jay's in elementary school. Since I was 2 or 3 years older, I didn't start to hang out with Jay and Scotty until our early 20s. That would be about 80, 81 or so. Before he turned into a responsible guy, he was a work hard, but party harder. Some of you might attest to that. Plenty of Pilsner beer, whiskey, and burning rubber. Does live hard. But maybe not always Twin Terrier was a real looker. Standard transmission and big horsepower was something that pleased Jay's personality at the time. He got a lot of pleasure to smoke those tires, and was very pleased to claim those two black strips in front of his neighbor's house were his. Big hair, big stereo, big parties. Needless to say, they didn't last at that location. My brother can attest to all that. He was just as responsible and was witness to it all in those early years. Jay and Scotty moved into Jay's parents' rental house, and the partying continued. Less the burning tires. We had strict instructions from his mom and dad to keep the stereo below 160 decibels and not to unrest the neighbors. That same place was a good stop-off place for our hockey buddies, since it was close to our home rink. It was a perfect place to get into the hockey spirit. Jay, being the good host, he insisted that an extra Pilsner would make us a better hockey player. Not sure if that worked well, but his intentions were good. As he got a bit older, wiser, sold the car, left most of his partying to the weekends, mostly. Jay started his electrical apprenticeship early, and he took pride in his work. And he worked hard. And during the bust of the early 80s, when things got slow, he always managed to keep working. His employer, Western, no doubt noticed his strong work ethic, and they wanted to keep the very best employees. Not only did he work hard, he seldom, if ever, called in sick, even if he was. Even a night of partying would never keep him from his job. Skiing was a passion for Jay. With no more tires in such supply, we found ourselves back into the ski more often. And more years went by. He met Susan through my wife Nancy, heard the story. And after a few phone calls, they met up, hit it off immediately. It became the love of their lives. He proposed, and they were married a few months. Perfect match. Kids came a few short years after, first Sarah, then Jeffrey, 1 year after. Jay and Susan are dedicated parents, raising two great kids. Kids to be proud of. Jay worked very hard to provide for his family and to allow his kids the opportunity to succeed and to bring them up with a strong work ethic and always to do your best. As the years went by, the Renoufs and the Dugans would spend time together socializing, and as our kids got old enough to ski, we would go to Panama, Lake Louise, spending many days enjoying good times together, burning up the hill. Over those same years, come the summer, Renoufs would head to Shuswap Lake, and the Dugans do. Sometimes down the lake, other times we were across the lake, just a short boat trip away. In recent years, Jay and his buds all got themselves kayaks. We got together for a casual trip down the Bow River. Nothing extreme. Mostly a relaxing paddle if you want to kind of trip. A good chin wag is what it was, really. Sip on a beer, Pilsner, Jay brought it, of course. Sometimes one of us might get adventurous to hit some white water. Jay was more casual. Didn't want to spill his beer or get too wet. Except one time, I guess he was feeling frisky, thought he might try some white water. It wasn't too far away from him, and I decided it looked a little too big and I'd avoid it. Next day we see Jay, over he goes. The look of I'm okay, just find the beer. I knew then he was okay and thinking clearly. Speaking for my mom and dad, Jay was like the son to them, and he loved the place. As a young adult, Jay came to the shoe shop to help us build a cottage. My dad would say, "Man, that kid sure knows how to work." And Mom would add, "Such a respectful kid." And I thought myself, so respectful, he never declined my dad's homemade beer. Now that's the baby master tastes fantastic. So when we're skiing this season, you know Jay will be with us in spirit. This party's for you, Jay. These are the people who know how great a guy you are, and many others too. We couldn't come to celebrate with you today. I love you, buddy.
For a guy said he couldn't hold his speech, you did a hell of a job, right? Good job, Rob. So you're going to have to bear with me a little bit. I have a couple of speeches to make. Ken Rickfield sent a letter. He asked me if I would read for him today because he was unable to make it. So I'll be up here for a little bit, so I'll try not to bore you too much. But anyway, so here we go. Good afternoon. I'm sorry that I cannot attend Jay's celebration of life today. I did, however, want to share some of my thoughts about my relationship with Jay. I worked with Jay on the tools when we first met, and it was soon evident to me that his intelligence, hard-working ethics made him what we would call a keeper. Well, we kept him, and he kept Western in his career for the next 40 years. As our careers progressed, I would move into the management and serve as president of Western, overseeing all aspects of the company. Jay completed his apprenticeship, served his time as a journeyman, and continued climbing the ranks into Western to become one of our most respected general foremen, successfully completing some of Western's most demanding, complex projects. I'm sure Scott, that would be me, will speak on Jay's project accomplishments a little later. Jay led by example, and I believe he earned the respect of his peers and his crew by his hard work, honesty, and integrity. Over the years, Jay and I would work together in many different capacities, from the start of the tools, through the projects I managed with Jay on the crew, progressing to Jay running crews, and culminating with Jay's last major project being the Foothills Medical Center. This was a unique project from the start of 2005. We had to submit a proposal to the hospital selection committee. This process required we submit an organization chart with all the key personnel, starting with myself to the project managers, and sometimes the most important line being the superintendent. I chose Jay's pronounced name as the superintendent and never regretted that. For the first few years of the Foothills project, I spent many hours on site working with the management team, calling on Jay to coordinate and execute some very complicated operations. By this time, Jay and I had been with Western 30 years and had developed a friendship we enjoyed. At lunch, a beer, after work, discussing sports, family events, or whatever came up. Jay organized some weekend trips with the boys. It was special to me that he still allowed me as one of the boys, and I always went on the trips. In closing, I want to thank Susan, Sarah, and Jeffrey for allowing me to spend some time with Jay that day he passed. To be able to do that meant a lot to me. miss Jay, and I know I speak for all of Western's family as we have lost one of our own family members. Thank you, Ken Rickey. So this is my part. As I said, my name is Scott White, and I work for Western Electrical Management, and I've known Jay since we both have hair. Clearly, it's been a while. I met Jay shortly after I arrived in Calgary. I was 19 years old, fresh off the rock from Newfoundland, desperately in need of work. I found an ad in the newspaper stating that the local electrical company was looking for starters. I applied, and then interviewed with Cal Wakelin down there, and in the basement of the Calgary Catholic School Board office building. Don't know if you remember that one, Cal? Cal sent me to work under Jerry, Hill, and Jay at the University of Calgary Professional Faculties Project. I started my new job on Friday, November 1st, 1992. I spent that entire day sweeping the floor. It was a PCL job, so you know, we had to supply a labor to sweep the floor, so that was my first day. After I'd been sweeping the floor for 6 hours, this guy who looked like Polly off the show Mad About You, I don't know if any of you guys remember that show, came over and grabbed the broom and showed me how much more vigorously I need to sweep that floor. Turns out that was my first introduction to Jay, and there's a few things I wanted to do with that broom, but I never told him that. I was quite happy to have the job, so I just kept going. So Jay must have thought I wasn't too bad overall, as I recall being the last employee on the job site aside from Jerry and Jay, or it could have been just my cheap labor, because I was a starter, or I did get them a lot of coffee. I mean, a lot of coffee. They'd always send me for coffee. They never wanted to go get their own. They sent a little guy in the totem pole. Or my ego likes to think that I was just simply a rock star as an apprentice electrician, but I don't think that was the case. From there, Jay and I worked on a number of jobs, and while Jay is known for work on this log project, the 200 square foot hot dog stand at Bear Ponds Golf Course is one that I won't forget. So if you're ever golfing on the Bear spot, and on the 9th hole there's a hot dog stand, that's myself and Jay's work. So, while we did that job, I was a struggling apprentice, I couldn't afford a car, but Jay was kind enough to pick me up at the intersection of John Laurie Boulevard and Charlesville Drive. For anyone unfamiliar with that area, 25 years ago, you may recall there's not a real place to park or to pull over safely. There's no crosswalks, no lights. I think Jay picked that place just to laugh at me daily as I essentially played Frogger, dodging people trying to get across the road to his beloved rusted-out Chevy pickup. After our impressive hot dog stand, we were back working for Jerry and his son Craig in the building of the 14th Street pump station. To blow off some steam one weekend, Jerry, Craig, and I went dirt biking with Jay to McLean Creek. It was both the first time and the last time we saw Jay ride, as he had an epic crash that left him with cracked ribs, significant contusions, a smashed up dirt bike, and a very bruised ego. And a story that I didn't want to tell anybody, but I was happy to tell everybody once I found out he was okay. Jay and I were later sent to work outside of Brooks on the Pan Canadian Fuel Office. Due to the remoteness of the assignment, Jay got the great displeasure of living with me for about a year. But he also got rewarded with the high privilege of being the first guy in the field to get a cell phone, or mobile phone. It really wasn't that mobile because that was really great in 1994, except for the fact the phone came in a small gym bag and weighed about a 12-pack of Pilsner. Without being as nearly enjoyable as a bottle of Pilsner, or a case of Pilsner either. I would like to extend my gratitude to Susan for all those wonderful meals she would send us during that time. Jay tried to take credit for the great cooking, but nothing I actually ever saw him make would ever measure up. But it was cute that he tried. Really, if it wasn't on the barbecue, Jay wasn't not very good at it. So. I also worked with Jay on many other projects. I was always in awe of what a race horse trader he was. He would negotiate beer for the use of the company forklift and operator. At one point, we had 20 flats of pill poured away in our site trailer, and we could all get to take home an equal share of it. It was always a nice way to have a bonus on a Friday, even though it was Pilsner. That kind of, and just so we're clear, that kind of thing doesn't happen anymore, right, guys? Feels good. to many projects. Just to name a few, he spent years working on Chinook Mall redevelopment, the IKEA building, Sunridge Mall redevelopment, and he spent 15 years of his career doing various projects, including the McKay Tower at Foothills Medical Center. Jay was very devoted to his family and friends. He found his perfect match in Susan, with whom he so proudly raised his wonderful Sarah and Jeffrey. His parents, brothers and sisters, and their families were very important to him, as were his lifelong friends, Ross and Scott. Those who know me well would not describe me as a very sentimental person. But the truth also needs to be told. I would not be who I am today without Jay. Jay was exceptional in helping not only me, but many others reach for and meet potential that we might not have otherwise noticed was within us. He often told us we needed to take, as in Jay's words, the bull by the horns and go farther whenever we had a chance. I realized this was often to Jay's own detriment, as he ended up creating himself more work and training new people to replace the ones he encouraged to seize other opportunities. Yet he repeated this time and time again. He was a great electrician, but he was also a master educator and leader, bringing out the best in those fortunate enough to work with him. As a true testament to Jay's importance in these ways, today's celebration, he's even brought the Thompson twins out of hibernation after 6 years. They actually showed up. I've been in Calgary for nearly 28 years, and I can't still imagine a life here without Jay. While I feel we got robbed in losing him so soon, I also know that we are more than gifted with every single moment we had him. He was so much more than a colleague, more than a mentor, and more than a friend. I will never stop missing you, buddy. Thanks for everything. I look forward to seeing you on the other side. Thank you.
Take my mask off?
Yeah, take it off.
Good enough. And then Mark.
I'm not sure I need the mic. Trust me.
I can't hear you.
I would say pretty quick friends. We're both big Blue Jays fans, both like to drive fast. Both like to bitch about lighters going on 19th Street. Take the sidewalk, dickhead. I'll start out at a personal level. As Jay and I being big Blue Jays fans, one of my favorite things to do during the Blue Jays game, if we're not watching it together, I'm having a beer, is just to send Jay a little text. He'll send me a text, you know, nice hit, nice steal, nice fat, Joe West sucks, all that different stuff. And ever since, you know, this happened, it's so tough every Jays game now when something happens, I grab my phone to go text Jay, and I can't send it to him. And it sucks not getting text back from him when something happens as I anticipate sometimes. So that's been the most hard thing about this whole thing is not having that with Jay anymore. But I'll make this short, guys. On a personal level, on a professional level, I've worked a long time. I've worked full time since I was 14. I've had a lot of bosses, and I know one thing that happens in your work career is you bitch about your boss. I've never heard one single person ever say anything negative about Jay, ever. Everyone loved Jay, everyone respected Jay. Everyone looked up to Jay, looked up to Jay. In a way, it was a father figure to me. done a lot of things different in my life to try and replicate myself to Jay, and it's been really tough dealing with it, but no one told me I really make any jokes, but I'll say one thing looking at these pictures, he did have hair, eh? That's something else. If I were to nickname this hair going from that black to that white, I'd call it Michael Jackson. But anyway, guys, it was an honor and a pleasure to come up here and speak to everybody and talk about my relationship with Jay. It was short, but it was very sweet. The guy may not have been born with the best sticker, but he had the biggest freaking heart. So, Jay, buddy, have a good shot. Take it easy with your
Good job, bud.
Sorry, man. Bit mad.
Hi, everybody. If you don't recognize my face, it's because I met Jay at the later stages, of his life. I actually know, whereas Ross, I know you better than you know me, just through the amount that he talked about you. And I will tell you, there were all good things unless you had a couple help. But I met Jay in 2008, and I oftentimes will remember as we get together, we all cherish and appreciate what a great man he was. The difference in perspective, how hell saw him. I was talking back with Greg and Matt about how Jay was a very kind and sweet man. He could be. I look to the left and I see, Scott and Aaron and Troy, Tyler and Kyle. I mean, Sean, you were there too. Jeff, he had a bit of a mean streak. And it wasn't like he was trying to be mean, but he could just command attention. Now, we all knew Jay was not an imposing physical man, but I can tell you that the very first time I met him was in the winter of 2008. It was January. He was knee-deep in getting the keg tower out of the ground. I had experience at the Children's Hospital as an apprentice, so at this point, Western was just taking anybody that they possibly could. So Jerry Hill, I believe you were there, and he said, yeah, smart guy, he worked at the hospital, he's got some experience, and all I heard out of the corner office that Jay had on the upper trailer was he good? Jerry says, I have no idea, like I do. That wasn't the first time. There was so many times during those early years in the keg tower as I got progressively closer with Jay that I saw him occasionally lose his temper. One of them being, I do believe, Daryl Kastner and Jay Renouf were having a disagreement. Not too sure what it was about, but all I know is that the door got shut so hard that Jay's nameplate off of his door flew and hit about 4 walls before missing my head. And as a young up-and-starter, I just kept my head down. And the only sound that was louder was when Daryl left that office that day and decided to make sure that his smash of Jay's office door was louder than Jay's. So I find it funny because he had those parallels in his life. He had those parallels as a character and as a man. And what had happened from that time in 2008 till about 2012, he was my boss. I didn't have that close relationship with him. I admired the things that he set my example, like his hard work and his moral fortitude. And then I had my daughter, Sierra. And then, because Sarah, you were born, I'm not too sure where you were, I'm trying to look at you, but, oh, hi, Sarah. Sarah and my daughter, Sierra, as fathers, we were roughly around the same age. We both had a daughter first, and slowly became a boss to a mentor. And then I had my son, Parker, and Jeff, I believe you're up there. He had upon me these efficiencies or work-related virtues that he was trying to make me absorb, but now he was turning me as a father. And it was the first time I had ever seen him in that light. And I was astounded at the depth of his willingness to help me outside of what I was just simply as an employee. And it all came together when my daughter Sarah was about 2 years old, and we asked Sarah to babysit for us. And the reason this was a significant event that I remember so vividly was because it was the first time that we were allowing somebody that wasn't our family to take care of our daughter, and if you're a parent, you know how hard that would be. So Sarah got driven by Jay to our place in Airdrie, and Jay can be an intimidating figure, so I was a little concerned for my daughter, who shares as much of the traits and qualities as Sarah does. Incredibly smart, but sweeter than, it hurts my teeth looking at you, Sarah. So my 2-year-old daughter, who's walking around like a drunken sailor, I'm a little worried about how this interaction is going to go. And Jay, God damn, he looked at my daughter and he bent down and he went, "Hey, sweetheart, how you doing? What's your name?" I'll always remember that because it was the first time in my entire life I saw this man at a different level. A level that maybe I even didn't think he had. And it was one of the sweetest things I've ever seen. And he became that to me. At that moment, he became not only my boss, but he became my mentor. And then he got sick. And I was so mad at him because I had to find out through bizarre means. But after that, our mentorship started to change and becoming friends. So I've had this bizarre story where I have known this man for 18 years, 12 years. You have all known him in various different ways. I got him right at the tail end, and he was even at the tail end, he still held strong all of those virtues that he had at the beginning. He was such a strong leader that led by example. He was such a kind and knowledge mentor. And then when we became friends, through his illness and circumstances that happened with our families, we talked about loss. We all knew that Jay, after his illness, was on borrowed time. And we talked about that. And I'm so grateful that I got to spend every minute with this man. And I'll miss you every day, Jay. I really will. And I hope that I can live up to the standards that you set for me, because I will always try. I've had the distinct pleasure of serving with and under very honorable men. And one of the things we do every time we think of them is we take our drinks in hand. We cheers to them, we knock it once on the table, and we have one drink out of respect. And if you're drinking Pilsner, you deserve it. So I would like you all, please, at this point, and I don't care if it's water or if it's nothing, if it's Pilsner, please raise your glass to Jay Renouf. I love you, buddy. Thank you very much, buddy. Anything Pete's coming up? Oh, there we are.
Hi everyone, my name is Pete Hell. I probably am the one who's known Jay the longest in this room. I met him when he was 1 year old. I'm the first cousin of Jay's. Jay's mom, Gloria, and my mom, Nellie, were always very close sisters. When I was young, I remember our family shared many a Sunday roast beef dinner, one of Jay's favorite. My brother John remembers playing ping pong at the Renouf's home with Jay. Jay would always win, John said. I'm sure Rob and Laura could attest to Jay's table tennis skills. Jay was very kind in his victories at ping pong, but not so forgiving in croquet. I remember when Jay and I played croquet, he would hit my ball clear across the backyard. By the time I got back to the hoops, Jay had won the game. I remember each time Jay won, he had a special victory laugh. Almost 30 years ago, in the early 1990s, my sister Karen and brother-in-law Jerry had a huge family reunion in the Shuswap area. A family reunion that I will never forget. I remember Karen needed some last-minute supplies for the party, and Jay and I volunteered to go get them. On our trip, Jay said to me, "Pete, I found one." I said, "One what?" "Well," Jay continued, "the one I'm going to marry." Well, I remember hearing that special laugh again and seeing a huge smile on my cousin's face. I think I was the first one he told. He told me all about this special gal now in his life. That gal was you, Susan. Jay had won again. This woman was the love of his life. Susan and Jay's love led to their two beautiful children, Sarah and Jeff, whom I was lucky to meet and share a roast beef dinner with in Susan and Jay's home. Today I remember Jay as one of the good guys, a true winner, just like his dad, my Uncle Jeff. Jay's competitive spirit propelled him to the great success he's achieved as an adult. I feel truly blessed to have known Jay, my cousin and my friend. Thank you for letting me share. John?
Very impressed with the screen over there, some of the pictures they bring back some really fond memories. Also, if any of you have had a chance to look at that pizza box, well, I think that says it all. That was Jay for sure. My name is John Dick. Ellen and I live directly across the lane from Sue and Jay, and there were lots of communication going on between us. When we arrived home from vacation, we received the sad news of Jay, and we can't imagine our shock and relief to hear that Jay had passed. It was just unbelievable to us. Jay was without a doubt the best neighbor one could ever wish for. He was a true friend that I could always confide in and always rely upon to look after things when we were gone somewhere. His knowledge and expertise always amazed me, and very often I would seek his advice when I was confronted with a dilemma of some sort. Jay was always curious about how other people were doing, and this led to many interesting discussions in the back lane or over a cold beer. He had a great sense of humor, and thus was a joy listening to his storytelling. Conversations with Jay seldom involved religion, but his moral standards were impeccable, and his sound judgment was something that really impressed me. I suspect that Jay was highly respected by his co-workers, who would quickly recognize his genuine character and his honest attitude. Ross and Jay, as true friends, had a special bond that was very evident whenever the two were together. Listening to you two kidding each other was what I really enjoyed, Ross. Ross, you need to cherish all those fond memories. Susan, you must be so proud of all the accomplishments that Jay achieved and the sincere dedication he showed to each one of you on a regular basis. Sarah and Jeff, the reason your life is so successful is a direct result of the fine example your dad demonstrated at every opportunity. Although we are all very deeply saddened by his loss, we must admit that our lives have been greatly enriched through our association with Jay. God bless each one of you.
Sarah, and Jeff. I thank you for allowing me the opportunity to provide everyone here today with a few of my fond memories of Jay. I extend the Thompson family condolences for the loss of Jay to his mother Gloria, his sister Laura and her family, his brother Rob and his family, to all Jay's extended family present here today, and to all others present who are here to pay their respects. It is truly an honor to stand before you all to share memories of Jay that I have. That will be with me for the rest of my life. Jay was always there at a moment's notice, if and when needed. My stories go back many years. When Sarah mentioned tough stuff for enough, here it starts. I first met Jay in 1971 when the Thompson family moved in next door to the Renouf family on Bullier Road. Jay and I were both 11 years old at the time. Little did we both know back then that we would be forming a friendship that expanded to just shy of 50 years. Within that friendship circle was also Scott, who's here today. My first example of Jay's true strength and resilience began in grade 6. I was new to the neighborhood, new to the elementary school at Captain John Collins. The first week into the new school year at recess, I came across an individual, and I checked to make sure he wasn't here today, by the name of Jamie Burmeister. Some of you may remember that name. I accidentally bumped into Jamie while playing with a soccer ball.
Unknown to me, Jamie had a reputation of being the toughest kid in grade 6. If you can imagine, back in grade 6. At the time of the collision, Jamie turned to me, rolled up his sleeves, and he was ready for a fight. I was not. As Jamie moved towards me to unleash his wrath, he suddenly stopped and turned away without saying a word. As I stood there in amazement, I turned to see James standing directly behind me with a smile on his face, and he said, "He won't be bothering you anymore." I don't think Jamie was the toughest kid in school. It was definitely Jay. The next year, we moved into junior high. We had gym class with Mr. Peters, which some people remember clearly. He was a very, I won't say mean, but he had his aggressive moments. And he knew how to separate the wheat from the chaff. So right away he set up chin-up bars. There was 3 of them. So right, everybody up, you get time, and you hang there for as long as you can. And then as each group went through, we got down to the final 3. That final 3 was myself, Jay, and Corey. As time ticked on, I looked to my right, and Corey dropped down. I looked to my left, and Jay was there with that familiar smirk. Oh, you've seen it now, for years. I closed my eyes and I concentrated on the task at hand and hung there for at least another 3 seconds. When I opened them, Jay was still there. I closed them again. Time ticked by, another 3 seconds. When I opened them, I was no longer hanging there. Jay was. Jay lasted for another 14 seconds. Again, took the trophy on that one, showed his true strength and resilience. As we continued to age, Jay and I found ourselves able to learn the skill of what we considered in our minds to be professional drivers. We won't mention the fact that my first year of driving I received 15 demerits. And it was Jay's foot on the gas pedal in the passenger side. I was behind the wheel, but it was his foot. We began honing those skills by driving in my loaned 1966 2-door Chevy Caprice. It had oars in the trunk, it was that much of a boat. Jay, at that time, had a Mercury Comet. Remember that? Brown in color. We found that being brown in color was a better match for the A&W orange trade when it comes to driving. No. So if we ever went cruising to A&W, we took the Comet. Jay's passion for cars expanded. He purchased a Chevy Nova. If I remember correctly, helped me out across Scott. It was green in color. A mean machine. He then ultimately purchased his dream car back then. It's already been mentioned, the orange 55 Chevy. Amazing car. His heart and soul was in that car. It didn't really match my next vehicle purchase. I'm going to share that with you all shortly. There's going to be suspense until I talk about it. And remember, 55 Chevy is what I'm going to tell you what I had that Chevy. We continued our journey into the classic car era. We rode in style. Chevy Camaros, Chevy Chevelles, Plymouth Dusters, Chevrolet Corvettes, Dodge Challengers, Plymouth Barracudas, Ford Mustangs, and we even rode in a Chevy Vega. It had, now help me out here, was it a 327 or a 350 engine? It was a 350 engine. For those of you that know Chevy Vegas, the engine was bigger than a Vega. So we cruised in style. When we wanted to impress, we cruised in the muscle cars. When we wanted to save on gas, we cruised in my car. You ready for it? This car would do 0 to 60 in under 2 minutes. It was a 2-door 1976 Honda Civic. she got in it, for some reason, wanted to stay low. They didn't want to be seen in it. And you know, I've been to many classic car shows over the years, which probably most of you have too. I have never seen my 1976 Honda Civic at a classic car show. Maybe one day I will. From the pictures that you see, Jay loved the outdoors. We would take a tent, we would head up to Condolence country, also known as Bear. I remember Jay asked at one point, we're sitting around the campfire, he looks at me and he says, I know you know how much I love camping, but why don't you ask others? I said, because I can run faster than you can. Time for another channel story. For those of you that had the opportunity to visit the Renouf home, when they were living on Beaulieu Road, you may remember the arched entranceway with the brick accent as you entered into the downstairs rec room. Jay had a gathering of friends one night, and as he went downstairs, Jay glanced at the arch and then at me. I took that as a direct challenge. Forgetting that a few years had gone by, and about 40 pounds heavier, I grasped the bricks and I intended to pull myself up. Seconds later, the brick arch was on the ground. Jay advised me that he would never reveal the identity of the person responsible for the damage that night. I asked Jay, let me know the repair costs. Jay said it was only fair if we split the cost, as he directed my attention to the challenge in the first place. Money was placed in an envelope with small, unmarked bills and was delivered to the Renouf mailbox in the covered darkness. A few months had gone by. The Renoufs had a get-together at their residence over the Christmas holidays. And about an hour into the gathering, Mr. Renouf says to me, thanks for the money, Deb. I said to him, how'd you know? He said to me, the moment I saw it, I knew that only one person would think of doing it. For those of you that are hockey fans, you may remember the saying of the Broad Street Bullies. That basically began in about 72 with the Philadelphia Flyers hockey team. Mostly led by Bobby Clark, but there's a few others in that story. We had our own version locally in the 70s. We were known as the Brentwood Bruisers. Led, of course, by Jay, being the toughest of that motley crew of individuals that we were. Graduating from Winston Churchill High School in '79, we then entered into the 80s. Jay took on a job as an electrician. I remember saying to him, so if I flip a light switch and you put on, the sprinklers come on? How does that work? Interesting enough, not too long later, I started my profession by moving 2 provinces away to Manitoba. Here blows my cover. I'm into law enforcement. Jay calls me up and he says, okay, hopefully you ever have to shoot anybody and not near a barn door. To go back slightly by the barn door, we have a farm northwest of Calgary, just past Copper. And we used to go out there and we used to pluck away with the 22. And I couldn't hit the broadside of a barn door. So that's why he threw that in there. He was just hoping my aim was better if I didn't ever eat it. In '97, I took ill, and I traveled back to Calgary as I had every year to see my family and friends. Jay being one of those friends, it was always clear for a visit. I was unable to move around during that time, and I was housebound. The first person through the door to check on me to see how I was doing was Jay, followed by Ross Newman. I think by the sounds of it, the 2 of them fought to get to the bedroom door first. You could hear a scuffle as they're making their way down the stairs. I think you remember that clearly, Ross. Jay and I stayed in touch over the years, moved forward with their lives, and they're always catching up. The last time I saw Jay was in 2016, when I was invited to visit Jay and Susan at their winter retreat in Scottsdale, Arizona. Again, it was like it's always been. Catching up was like we were doing that far apart. I left Calgary in 1988 and I've been gone for 32 years. But it's like I never left this city. Every time I came back, there was Jay moments away. Just before I sign off here, I wish to read a poem I created from reviewing many others. Yes, Jay, I wrote a poem. My, how times have changed. We have all heard that life is a journey that will take us in many directions over the years. Most days are filled with laughter. However, today we all have tears. Today is full of memories of Jay that we will all hold dearly. And every single one of them will be remembered so clearly. 1,000 words won't bring Jay back, we know because we tried. And neither will a million tears, we know because we cried. With so many precious memories of Jay to last our whole lives through, each one of us will have reminders, Jay, of how much we will miss you. You are in our thoughts today, Jay, but that is nothing new. We thought of you yesterday, Jay, and we will tomorrow too. Rest peacefully, my friend.
Jeff and I to do off the fence I went. Jeff wanted to play hockey? Hell yeah, he was playing hockey. We wanted to go camping, he'd get off work early and take us all to the trailer for the weekend. We wanted to go skiing? Hell yeah, we were going to go skiing. After Jeff and I learned to be good mathematics, what did we learn, Jeff? You don't take your skis off on the hill. Skiing was a love that we all shared. Going to Panorama every season for the last 20 years ended up with some pretty amazing memories. Like when Dad showed us the not-so-secret forest, or once we were old enough, having beers on days. Dad was the best skier I've ever known. He looked so graceful, speeding down the hill. His turns and parks were beautiful, and his form was perfect. Once I managed to catch up to him at the end of the run, he would have the big smile on his face as he was out doing what he loved with the people he loved most. I know he shared amazing ski days with his best buddies, and I remember him coming home after a long ski day in his red ski jacket, tired and sore, smelling like beer. We had the absolute best time as always, and he couldn't wait for Jeff and I to join him. When Jeff decided he wanted to play hockey, Dad just lit up with excitement. Hockey is something he always loved, and he couldn't wait to teach Jeff how to play. He was the best hockey dad, taking him to every game he practiced, giving Jeff tips and things to work on so that he could play his best. Every goal Jeff scored, Dad cheered and whistled the loudest. If you haven't heard Dad whistle, it's probably better than ours by now. And when we weren't watching Jeff play hockey, we could find Dad from the nearest TV watching NHL, CFL, NFL, golf, or any other sport that was on. You've heard of Jack of all trades, and he was a J of all sports. We loved the NHL, and we all cheered loud and proud for the Flames until Jeff decided they weren't that good and cheered for the Sens instead, mostly to get under his skin. He got us both into the CFL, taking us to as many Stamps games as he could, even the games where it was 40 below and freezing cold. Nothing would stop Dad from going unless he was in Shoe Shop. Shoe Shop has been our #1 vacation destination for over 20 years. I know we all love it out there, but Dad loved it the most. I think it was truly his most relaxed self when we were there, sitting in the sun, drinking his beer, most likely Pilsner, looking out at the boats across the lake. He taught us how to body surf when storms came in. He taught us to water ski, but we could never be as good as he was. He could fall and ski like you wouldn't believe, and he made it look easy. Shoe Shop wasn't the only place we went on vacation over the years. Dad worked hard to be able to take us on vacations like to Mexico, Cuba, Jamaica, the Dominican. He told us it was because he wanted us to be able to see the world, and he wanted us to see it with him. Dad always gave pretty good advice. Actually, he gave me pretty amazing advice all the time about everything. He helped me look into getting the right vehicle, coming with me to make sure I got the best deal. He gave the best financial advice, and he gave me even better relationship advice. Matt, I hope this goes without saying that Dad loved you so much. He really did. He knew from day one that you were such a good guy, so smart and funny, and he likes skiing, so that helped. He knew about some of the fights we had, and I remember one fight years ago when we were in Lethbridge. He told me that distance makes the heart go longer. Matt loves you and you love him, and you'll be okay. And it was. I'm sure Dad talked about you just as much as he did us. He was so proud of you for graduating school and getting such a good job. He felt the world of you, and I know he would love you like his son. Everything that I am today is because of my dad. He shared his love of Chevy cars and loved Zeppelin music with me. I never would have found his program at school if he hadn't suggested it, and if I hadn't, I never would have met one of my closest friends, which started working in the most amazing clinic. Because of my dad, I've learned to ski, ride a bike, check my oil, water ski, and build a fire. He tried to teach me to be right-handed, but I'm just as scared as he is, so I stayed a lefty. He met the most amazing woman with the help of his two greatest friends, and therefore was blessed with a couple of pretty great kids that I think he was pretty proud of. We worked hard for everything that we have today. We always put family first, making sure we had everything we needed, but all we ever needed was him. Mom, thank you for returning this call on your first day together. Such a great day with all of these amazing memories we have together. And Dad, I just want to thank you for always being my #1 guy, my kinetic, electrician, handyman, biggest fan, ski instructor,
say something at a later time, just, hey, we spoke and
All right, so you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to tell a joke. It's, we're going to go with the red line. If you, we're going to go with the dangerous town. But this is a joke. This was, like, honestly, James' favorite joke. I'm not like it. I've told it, I've repeatedly told it at least 2 dozen times, and every time it laughs.
There's more, it's a lot more. A lot more.
So this, you know, it's okay. You know. So I'm on a flight with, actually, you were there. And so he can account for this. So Daryl, Renouf and I, and we're traveling on the West End. We're going from Saskatoon to Calgary.
Really?
What's that? Oh, sorry, who's that?
I know where this is going.
Oh, yeah. So anyway, pilot gets on the old aircraft. The comedy goes on. Everybody, thank you very much for traveling West Canada. Really appreciate it. We're going to be traveling about 30,000 miles into the air, and I actually think we're going to get into Calgary a few minutes early due to the west winds. And thank you very much. If you've got any questions at all, make sure that you talk to Barbara or Susan, and they'll be able to help you out. When you hear the pilot, he puts down a headset, but he forgets that it's still on. And so the pilot says to the co-pilot, he goes, "You know what I could use right now? The coffee and a back massage." So the stewardess runs from the back of the plane to try to tell the poor pilot that they don't offer back massages. And so while she's running right past us, she leans over and goes, "Hey, sweetheart, don't forget the back massage." Okay, so I'm just saying that that's James' sense of humor. He loved that joke. He loved that story. Daryl was there. He never got a back massage. I didn't. And I just hope that we can all laugh because honestly, I mean, I'm drinking Pilsner right now, and if Jay Renouf can do anything, he can drink Pilsner. So he had a great sense of humor. He was a good man. So if anybody wants to come up here and tell a funny joke, it beats that. I challenge you.
All right, your time is up.